John Denver was one of the most loved music stars of the 1970s, but his life was full of ups and downs. For 25 years, he was a top singer at RCA Records. But suddenly, they dropped him, like he didn't matter anymore. At the same time, personal troubles were growing. His ex-wives spoke about his bad temper and moments where he lost control, even using a chainsaw in anger. He also had a problem with drinking, which led to him losing his pilot license. But even after that, he continued flying. In 1997, he flew an experimental plane that had a dangerous flaw. Sadly, it crashed, and he died. Investigators later said the crash could have been avoided. The signs were there, but no one paid attention. John Denver was born on December 31, 1943, in Roswell, New Mexico. His real name was Henry John Deutschendorf Jr. His father was a famous Air Force pilot who set speed records and was honored in the Air Force Hall of Fame. But growing up wasn't easy for John. His family moved a lot because of his father's job, so he never stayed in one place long enough to make close friends. He always felt like he didn't belong anywhere. This feeling stayed with him for life. When he was 11 and living in Tucson, Arizona, his grandmother gave him a very old guitar, made in 1910. That guitar became something special for him. Playing music made him feel safe and helped him express himself. He joined the Tucson Boys Chorus, where he learned how to perform and sing with others. By the time he was in high school, he was already performing folk songs at small shows. Music was becoming his passion. His father was very strict and expected John to be perfect at everything. Their relationship was tense. But they both loved flying. When John became a pilot too, they finally found something to share. Flying helped them bond, even though it came with risks. That love for flying showed up in John's songs about the sky and freedom. After high school, John went to Texas Tech University to study architecture. But he didn't enjoy it. He really wanted to make music, so he left school and moved to Los Angeles. He changed his last name to Denver, inspired by the beauty of Colorado. In 1965, he got his big break. Out of 250 singers, he was chosen to be the lead singer of the Chad Mitchell Trio. This helped him travel, perform, and get noticed. He stayed with the group for 2 years and recorded 3 albums. He also wrote songs, including Leaving on a Jet Plane, which became a huge hit for Peter, Paul, and Mary. After the trio ended, John started a solo career. In 1971, he released the album Poems, Prayers and Promises, which had the song Take Me Home, Country Roads. It almost didn't succeed because of sound problems, but his manager worked hard to promote it. It was released in April and by August, it reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. It sold over 1 million copies and later became an official state anthem of West Virginia. In 1972, he released Rocky Mountain High, which reached the Billboard Top 10. The title song became one of his most famous. The album cover was taken in Colorado, showing his deep love for nature. In 2007, this song was made one of Colorado's official state songs. From 1974 to 1975, he had his biggest success. In just 18 months, he had 4 #1 songs: Sunshine on My Shoulders, Annie's Song, Thank God I'm a Country Boy, and I'm Sorry. These songs showed different sides of him, from soft love songs to joyful country tunes. Annie's Song, written for his wife in just 10 minutes, became a favorite for weddings. During this time, he also released 3 #1 albums: Greatest Hits, Back Home Again, and Wind Song. His Greatest Hits album even sold more than any album by Elvis Presley at RCA. He had around 300 songs in his career and wrote more than 200 of them himself. He earned 12 gold and 4 platinum albums, selling over 33 million records around the world. He became one of the biggest stars of his time. Even with his music success, his move into movies surprised many people, and worked. But behind the fame, there were personal struggles, pain, and risky choices that eventually led to his tragic death in 1997. In 1977, John Denver acted in his first movie called Oh, God, with famous comedian George Burns. Even though Denver had never acted before, people loved his calm and honest style. The movie was directed by Carl Reiner and based on a book by Avery Corman. It told the story of a supermarket manager chosen by God to share a special message. Denver played the role so naturally that people really believed him. The movie became a big hit, making over $51 million in the US and even got an Oscar nomination for Best Screenplay. Even though Denver didn't appear in the sequels, this role proved he could do more than sing. He became one of the few musicians who moved into acting successfully. Denver also had a special style that fans loved. He had long blonde hair, wire-rimmed glasses, and wore colorful Western shirts. These shirts were made by Anna Zapp, an artist he met at an art fair in Aspen. Her unique designs fit Denver's kind and simple image perfectly. Other musicians like Willie Nelson and Bonnie Raitt also started wearing her shirts later. His look was friendly and different from other loud music stars of the time. It became a symbol of the peaceful and heartfelt folk country music of the 1970s. Even though some critics didn't believe he could succeed outside the US, Denver proved them wrong. His manager, Jerry Weintraub, thought that people in other countries needed to see him directly. So, he set up special TV shows for British audiences. He knew that critics wouldn't make Denver popular, but regular people might. The plan worked. British viewers loved Denver's warm voice and friendly style, and he gained a loyal fan base across Europe. These shows helped make him famous around the world and showed how powerful TV could be for spreading music. Denver's connection to Colorado was also very strong. After moving to Aspen, he fell in love with the state's natural beauty and lifestyle. In 1974, the state even named him its poet laureate, honoring how deeply his songs reflected Colorado's spirit. 2 years before being named Colorado's poet laureate, John Denver released Rocky Mountain High, a song that perfectly captured the peace and beauty of standing beside a quiet mountain lake. It spoke so deeply to people that it became an unofficial anthem for Colorado and was later named one of the state's 2 official songs in 2007. Denver's love for the region felt completely genuine, and it showed in his music. Even in West Virginia, lawmakers chose his song Take Me Home, Country Roads as one of their official state songs in 2014. His songs made people feel connected to the land, the mountains, and the simple moments that made life meaningful. During the 1970s and 1980s, Denver was also a big star on television. His 1975 special, An Evening with John Denver, won a Primetime Emmy Award, one of the top honors in TV. He went on to appear in many more specials, performing his hits, sharing stories, and singing with friends. These shows were broadcast across the US and internationally, helping his music reach even more people. Each show felt warm and personal, which made viewers feel like they knew him. It was a rare gift and one of the reasons he became such a beloved figure. John Denver wasn't just a singer, he also stood up for important causes. In 1985, he spoke before the US Senate when parents were calling for warning labels on music they thought was inappropriate. Even though Denver was known for gentle songs, he argued against censorship. He reminded the Senate that even Rocky Mountain High had once been censored because people wrongly thought it promoted drug use. Denver calmly defended artistic freedom and warned that labeling music could lead to bigger problems. Many people were surprised that someone like him, with such a clean image, would take such a strong stand. But his words helped shape the debate and are still remembered today in discussions about freedom in music. That same year, at the height of the Cold War, Denver made history by becoming the first American musician to tour the Soviet Union in more than a decade. Tensions between the US and the USSR were very high, but Denver chose to use music as a way to connect people. He performed 11 concerts in cities like Moscow, Leningrad, and Tallinn. Audiences welcomed him warmly, even if they didn't speak English. His songs about peace, love, and understanding reached across borders. He was inspired by the experience and wrote a new song called Let Us Begin, calling for peace instead of war. These performances were later released as the live album John Denver Live in the USSR, reminding the world how music can bring people together. In 1987, John Denver returned to the Soviet Union, this time driven by compassion rather than cultural diplomacy. The Chernobyl disaster had displaced more than 92,000 people, and the threat of illness loomed large. Denver performed at a benefit concert in Moscow, raising $140,000 from ticket sales alone, with even more coming from recordings of the event. The concert wasn't about politics. It was about shared humanity. For Soviet audiences, it was powerful to be seen and supported by an American artist. Denver proved once again that music could be a force for healing and unity, even in times of deep tragedy. In 1992, Denver became one of the first Western artists to tour China in the post-isolation era. Songs like Take Me Home, Country Roads had already found their way into Chinese schools and parks. The Chinese government invited him to perform in multiple cities and even agreed to broadcast one of his concerts to over 2 billion viewers. Some proposed hosting the show in iconic locations like the Forbidden City or the Temple of Heaven. Denver's visit wasn't just a concert, it was a cultural moment. Young people in China welcomed him like a hero, and even political leaders like Deng Xiaoping had taken note of him years earlier. The tour made Denver one of the most beloved foreign musicians in China at the time. Later in life, Denver focused more on humanitarian work. In the 1990s, he released a greatest hits album, Homegrown, with all proceeds going to help the homeless. He co-founded the World Hunger Project, which earned him the Presidential World Without Hunger Award. He was also deeply committed to environmental causes. Through his WinStar Foundation and the Planted 2000 initiative, he helped fund reforestation efforts. For Denver, giving back wasn't just a side project, it became central to his identity. His music, activism, and philanthropy worked together to reflect his core values. Yet, behind the public image of a peaceful, nature-loving artist was a man with serious personal struggles. His marriage to Annie Martel had started out like a dream. They adopted 2 children, and he famously wrote Annie's song for her in just 10 minutes. But as Denver's fame grew, so did the cracks in their relationship. Annie often felt lost in his shadow.